honest with you, I'm like losing my mind right now. Because I've got it right this time. Hopefully you can hear me. So, I'm freaking out because I've been reading some really interesting random crap. You know, I get no junk mail whatsoever to my emails that I have because it's really just personal accounts because I don't want to think about anything else during the day, you know, because I'm a very distracted person, and quite frankly, if I did, I would not get anything accomplished because I have to really make sure that I focus the right way. Anyway, how are you, by the way? Are you doing okay? I'm doing really well. I feel good, you know, physically, mentally. I should probably drink some more water, honestly, but I'll settle for coffee for now. You know, I love my coffee. I really, really like this music, actually. This is the relaxed movement. I think I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, though. I don't know why. I'm trying to keep my voice down for some reason. No particular reason why. But one of the emails that I do get randomly is Cora, and I don't know why it just coincidentally I get random emails about questions that sometimes pertain to personal situations that I'm going through, and so whenever I decide to read them, sometimes it takes me down that rabbit hole. And you know, you have to basically go through the bullshit, but some things sometimes click, you know, and they're not actual bullshit. The thing is, at the end of the day, you have to really decide what it is that you believe. And I think one of the reasons that I genuinely started enjoying being alone all the time is because it forces you to talk to yourself. And I mean, I don't know if anyone else does, but I know that I talk to myself constantly. And I think in psychology they refer to that as a filter. And some people have no filter. Or, you know, other people may refer to that as social cues. But anyway, perhaps that's why it often seems as though I'm not there, or aloof, or ditzy, or whatever it is. It's because I'm constantly assessing the situation, and it's referred to as, in psychology again, emotional intelligence. or basically empathy, honestly, at the end of the day. And it's the more that we look at science and the more that we read into this and look at brains specifically and how they look in scans, and that's why I would love to get into a lab, honestly. Fuck, what time is it? It's fucking 1:36. I need to call that goddamn I need to call that practice. I'm dying to go back to school. Honestly, the only reason I'm not in school is because financially I can't do it right now. But hopefully, one day. I've worked 2 jobs before, and I honestly wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind working a second one if I could find a way, or to find a way, or someone to take care of my boys. Because honestly, I really think that I could make money bartending for sure. At the end of the day, I'm really learning that it really doesn't matter. People and intelligence is one thing, but having the understanding of being around people is another thing. That's actually what psychology, I think, well, it's one of the branches that I'm not a psychologist, but that's kind of what it looks at. I mean, it's exactly looking at the study of your brain and how it works, how it operates. So, and the more I read about it, the more I'm starting to really understand how I work, how I operate, and understanding my strengths and my weaknesses as a human being, as a person, and understanding, exactly what I am, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. We all are wired differently. More than anything, I think psychology is really about understanding how people are just wired differently, and it is what it is, it quite frankly is what it is. If I'm trying, not to feel or be completely to the point. And I guess that's kind of why frank, honest, having no filter. So interesting to me. So the question is, do psychopaths not feel emotions, or do they suppress them? And so the reason that I clicked on this, honestly, is because I consider myself an empath. And how I define that is that a person who is hardwired to just feel everything. To just feel everything. To be able to read in a room and to just feel everyone's energy and read every look, every gesture, everything about a person, and just focus on things. Just reading people. I love reading people. I love watching people. I would honestly, if I could do something all day, it would be, and get paid to do, it would be to sit and watch people and observe them and comment, have a social commentary on what is happening and tell you about them, because that's my, I feel like that's my strength, you know? And I feel like at the end of the day, that's probably why I don't really like to socially interact with people, because it's so draining to always be focusing on saying the perfect thing, the most wonderful thing, the things that you know that people want to hear. Always wanting to please everyone, you know? Sometimes it's innately wired. It's just ingrained in people. It's just ingrained in our brain, because it's I don't know the scientific word for it, but it's that particular part of your your brain that is there, that is present, that was, you know, developed, I guess is the word for it. It being developed, it, you know, it did something. So anyway, I love this person's this theme. What is it? Quote: "Psychopathy is present from the first breath one takes to the last." By the way, my name is Whimsy, and thanks for watching. If you're here listening to my crazy ass antics. I decided to start doing this because I have two wonderful, beautiful, beautiful boys, and I love them. I love them so much. And I was actually telling my husband earlier, who is now living in South Carolina, and we're now separated. That's a long story, but I told him that, you know, that I wanted to separate. I just wanted to be alone. Because I do. And I want to be able to have my boys and just live in peace. And be able to, you know, I don't know, not feel so smothered, not be so restrained. I don't know what the best word is, but so anyway, whenever I die, I want my kids to have something to be able to go back to whenever they're old enough to understand and have the capacity to, you know, to deal with it, because it's really a lot to put on a child. I actually talked to the lovely young lady who did, she's a hairdresser, and she is actually the daughter, no, my friend's daughter's friend, okay? And her, oh man, anyway, she's gorgeous, and she's wonderful, and dude, she has amazing skin, by the way. Anyway, she's beautiful. And anyway, so, like, she's really pleasant, you know, she's wonderful to be around, and, you know, she's cool. And so whenever I talk to her and I'm listening to her, and I ask her questions, I found out that she actually, her parents had split up whenever they were, how old was she? I think she said 8, 4? I don't know. Anyway, whenever they were little, and so I asked her, of course, because now she's a grown person. She's an adult anyway. I think she's like 20, 21, 22. I don't know. I asked her how she felt, you know, about her parents splitting up whenever she was little, because I mean that's effectively what's happening to my kids. and she said that she's really happy that they did, you know, because her mom married her stepdad, and she, you know, she said that he's pretty much like her dad, and that she really, really adores him, and that her father, I mean, sucks, and that he was really selfish and like alcohol, whatever, blah 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 blah. You know that whole ordeal. You know how that goes. So many different problems, so many different families. Thankfully, I'm not an alcoholic. And I don't have any. You know, I'd like to think I've got it together for the most part. I really try anyway. That's one of the things, you know. Having to worry about someone else all the time, it really forces you to have to be objective. And I love this term that Athena Walker used right here. What does she say? Cognitive empathy, not emotional empathy. There's cognitive empathy and emotional empathy. I never even thought about it that way until today. I was talking to someone a few days ago, and you know, we talked about the word empathy and what it means. And I said something. I said, as a, you know, I identify as an empath, and so I said I feel as though an empath would be the opposite of a psychopath. Because as an empath, is the way I understand it, you physically feel everything. It's not only cognitive, it's also physical. You know, you feel what other people are feeling. It makes you have chills. It makes you lose your mind. You know, emotional torture, that's a real thing, you know. And that's how narcissists can abuse other people, is by putting other people down and feeding off of that. If not to fill whatever feeling it is that they have. And I also learned today the difference between narcissism, how psychopaths cannot have NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. Because, like, I mean, this, I of course believed that narcissism, you know, kind of came with the whole psychopath thing. And actually, come to find out, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Anyway, because it seems like all I have been doing is answering versions of this question in the last week. So hopefully this will be more searchable or something along those lines, so I can stop merging and re-answering this. Psychopathy is a variant brain structure. A quick reminder of what that means. Psychopaths have marked brain differences from a neurotypical brain. Our amygdala alone is around 18% smaller. As well, the same showing damage to the orbital cortex, the frontal lobe, and also the insula, which is located deep in the cerebral cortex. The orbital cortex regulates impulsivity, and the frontal lobe is the damage to ethics and morality section of the brain. All of these areas will show a pattern that is present and distinctive for a psychopathic brain. So, marked brain differences from a neurotypical brain. So when I go and look at a picture, you can actually see it. Are you? Yeah. And I think that's why it's and then, having other responsibilities like having kids, and not having anyone to necessarily help you. I think it's gonna be interesting. But I really hope that I can. I'm hoping eventually that I'll have the means and the way to even take out a loan if I can. Ugh, I hate taking out loans. Hell, I still have my student loans from college. But dude, I mean, if I could get paid to go to school forever, I would. I absolutely would. I don't know. I just people watching, being around people, hearing what people have to say, learning. It's really nice. It's just finding the right people that, enjoy doing that with you. Thankfully, my kid, he loves to learn. So, at the very least, I will have that for damn sure. In fact, what was it? Yesterday, he was actually on the couch, and he was looking at an encyclopedia of the human body. It's a very detailed book. I bought it on clearance at Barnes & Noble, and it was really awesome. I really enjoy it. And I actually gave it to him. I bought him a book. Also, it's a drawing book of the human anatomy. I gave that to Eisen. I gave that to him for Christmas. I would love to sit down with a psychopath. And just ask them questions, Thankfully, my kids, they feel, because it would be really sad if they weren't wired similarly. And I think ultimately that can lead to difficult situations for children, for you, effectively, for me. But at the end of the day, that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and keep themselves in check in society. Because, we have to do that. We have to, whether we want to or not, whether we are wired to or not, we have to make sure that we abide by the law, by what is right. Things we cannot feel. Bonding. Any bonding to a friend, a husband or wife, to children, to pets, etc. We have our own version of love, and it involves no emotional connection of any kind. So, What is that version of love? Is that giving people? Is that giving your wife a watch? Is that buying her a new car? Depression. You see, all of these things are things that I feel. To wrap my brain around the fact that there are people, human beings that I have to interact with on a daily basis that do not feel these things innately. They do not feel it. It's not there. Oh, that's just insane to me. But again, at the end of the day, we have to conduct ourselves accordingly. Is this just an evolutionary trait? Is it just like being left-handed? I don't know. Depression, not even a little. You don't feel it. Anxiety, the same as depression. You don't feel it. Suicidal ideations. Psychopaths don't kill themselves. Fear. We can feel adrenaline, but not fear. A lot of people like to think that we can. I invite them to live in our heads so they can see how wrong they are. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could live inside of other people's heads? But you see, a psychopath wouldn't care. A psychopath doesn't care. For any person who wants to be a movie director, a good horror movie director, that's the thing you want to capture. You've got to get a good actor who captures absolute apathy. Suicidal ideation. Psychopaths don't kill themselves. They don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not going to kill themselves. Fear. We can feel adrenaline, but not fear. A lot of people like to think that we can. I invite them to live in our heads so they can see how wrong they are. Chemical love, right back to bonding. That high most people chase, the woohoo, I'm in love, intoxication. We don't get that. Our love is very intentional. It is a conscious act. This means when we want to be around a person, we actually want to be around them. It also means that we don't get frustrated, that our feelings changed, meaning we aren't on the chemical high anymore and resent our partner for it. That high most people chase. The woohoo! I'm in love intoxication. I'm gonna need to fix this so that you could watch this. So that you could read it with me if you want to. Sadness, nope. Self-doubt, failure is never a problem. It doesn't bother us, we don't fear it, and we never dwell on it. It simply isn't there. We either accomplish something or we don't. If we don't, we go about it in a different way. If it's unobtainable, we move on. Low self-esteem. I still can't figure out the evolutionary reason for this one. We don't think we're amazing by default. Sure, some psychopaths do and have high narcissism traits, but as this is simply a trait of personality that everyone has on some level, some psychopaths, just like some neurotypicals, have it quite high. narcissism as a trait is very different than diagnosable narcissistic personality disorder. This is something else we cannot have. Goes against the wiring. For the last time, there's no such thing as psychopath with NPD. Every time I read that, it tells me that the person writing knows nothing about either condition. And so that's why I realized that NPD is a disorder. It's not something that is hardwired in you. It comes as a byproduct of all of your baggage from being a kid, of every experience that you've ever felt, that you've ever had, of holding on to it. And that's why it's really difficult for someone to, someone like me, to, fuck, what was I gonna say? Shit, I really don't remember what I was gonna say. Evolutionary reason for this one, we don't think. Something about narcissistic personality disorder. Oh, it's hard to shake anything off, you know. Emotions, you know, they come so easily. Everything though, you know, it's when you're happy, you know, I'm really happy for you, genuinely. It's whereas people with narcissistic personality well, I don't know, listen, don't quote me on that. I haven't. I would say that I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. But my observations, as far as I can tell, of people that I would identify as narcissistic is that it's really hard to say I'm sorry. It's really hard to admit defeat, mistakes. You know, your flamers, your people that always talk trash and look for confrontation and look for just for your god damn it, what is his name? Shit. That guy. Oh man, I'm gonna call him Shark. Anyway. Have you ever watched Stefan? Have you ever watched Bill Hader? I love him. I love him so much. Dude, I love Bill Hader. He's adorable. I absolutely adore him. He's fucking hilarious. I still can't figure out. So I still can't figure out what the hell I was trying to say. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Hola, saludos, hello. So, Oh, jealousy. No idea what the purpose is. So, basically, I'm not going to be able to even finish going on about this because I have responsibilities I must go tend to and be an adult and all that wonderful stuff. ¿Cómo estás? Espero que estés bien. Yeah, and I speak Spanish all day long, exclusively. Trato de hablar español todo el día porque tengo dos niños y estoy tratando de asegurarme que ellos dos hablen por lo menos dos idiomas. Me gustaría eventualmente que hablen más de un idioma, pero veremos qué pasa con eso. Pero ahora que ya estoy sola con ellos y no tengo ninguna razón por qué hablar inglés todo el tiempo, es una buena, o sea, por un lado es una buena cosa, me gusta. No es tan malo. But if you look at a brain of a person who has psychopathy or is a psychopath, whatever, and a person who I would almost argue that you could use them opposingly, but anyway, a person who is an empath, you can see the actual physical difference in the activity in their brain in MRI scans. Like looking at them, I would love to get in a lab in a hospital and go and look at them, look at brain scans and like do them and see how it all works.
Finley wants you.
Okay. Just saying, if you happen to drop by and you heard that you should drop a follow and that I'll be on later. But I have to go be an adult and be responsible and do all these things. So I'll catch you guys later.